Coming up on Football Today, it is the second episode. We are wrapping up Matchweek 17 of the EPL. Myself, Alex Donnelly, the Stats Guy, and Marcus Bazzano wrap it all up. Who's hot, who's not hot in the EPL, we run through that. And in the second half of the show, we take you through who's going to win the Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, and who's the PFA Player of the Year. Tune in. It starts right now. Hello and welcome to the second episode of Football Today. It is the 19th of December. Christmas is almost here, which means we are getting into a hectic time in the EPL. And of course, football around the world, except for, well, Germany, because they have a break. Good on them. I am your host, Alex Donnelly. I am joined, as always, by the Stats Guy, Liam McAllion, in an Ajax Guernsey this morning.
Thank you. You like my kit this week?
Yeah, it's a good one.
To last week? Yeah, I really like
colour.
it. Even though they're performing horribly in the Eredivisie. I really like your kit actually as well. I'll give you a comment at the start. That is awesome. The Japan...
Japan Dragon Ball Z.
That's
for
what
all
I was
those who aren't watching. If you're not, please go on YouTube and check it out.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's,
cool kit.
that's pretty cool.
Shout out Panda Boy.
Yeah, exactly. And joined by Marcus in the middle there. He's here.
Got my code back kit on.
Repping an old brand.
No more.
No, it's still the old. I've just put an article up. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
get around Code, a few articles on there.
That's exactly it. We are here to wrap up the most recent weekend in the EPL. Then we'll talk about performance of the week, goal of the week, save of the week, bunch of fun stuff. And then in the second half of the show, given that pretty much at the halfway point of the season and all the European leagues, we are have passed the group stages. We're going to talk about who we think will win the Europa League, the Champions League, and of course the Premier League, and we're going to talk about relegation as well. So a lot to cover on the show today, but of course we're going to start off today with a yeah, nah. We haven't got it written down, but thankfully I can remember it. Boys, yeah, nah. Manchester City won't win a thing this year.
Ooh, I'm trying to think of all the cups they're left.
They're already out of the Carabao Cup, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
They could win the FA still. I think with the talent they have, and they always win at least one or two cups, I think they'll win something, but I don't think it's going to be the Premier League. So I think it could be like the FA Cup is probably my go-to for them. I don't think they're going to win the Champions League or the Premier League the way they're going at the moment. I feel like they're relying on their stars a bit too much, which is a bit weird. But yeah, what do you reckon?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, they will. They will win something, I think, because they've still got a lot of upside. Still got Kevin De Bruyne to come back.
Yeah.
Erling Haaland
right.
to come back. So it could look like a completely different team.
Oh, there's every chance they'll win 16 games in a row and win the Premier League, and I'm going to cry again.
I feel like we had this conversation on the podcast, our other old podcast this time last year when the City are going to drop off, and then they still win. What is it? Yeah, 16, pretty much 16 games.
For this year, I'm going to say nah, because we'll get to it more later. But the drop off from winning the treble has been bigger than I think we can see so far. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne hasn't been there as well, but just games that they never would have dropped, they're dropping this year. Like they're not losing, but they're not winning them. Like this weekend at Crystal Palace, an exceptional example of that. But
And also, you think Arsenal's going to win every...
Of course.
I'm
deluded. Absolutely everything. We're not even playing the Europa League and we're going to win that. But of course, so we'll get on to it. And we're going to start off with every week in the EPL. We're going to start off with the Angeball status of the week. It is balling this week, boys.
It is.
I hate to say it, but it is balling. They beat Notts Forest on Friday night, Saturday our time. Side note, EPL. Friday night football needs to be every week.
I know.
Because we want Saturday morning EPL.
Yeah, it's not bad.
He's got Richarlison scoring goals.
Anyone that can get Richarlison scoring goals that is not in the canary yellow of Brazil, he's a genius. He has to be.
Consecutive games Richarlison has scored. Has hell frozen over? Well, it has. CM Punk's back in the WWE. Wait, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, wait, that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
They absolutely love him over there. His personality, Ange, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Ange, I'm saying.
Not
His
CM Punk,
personality, they just love the way he plays. And it's brilliant.
Yeah, no matter what happens in a Spurs game, it's going to be either them losing by a lot or them winning by a lot, and it's very exciting. So, yeah, it's good to watch.
Yeah, we can touch on that game. Of course, Basuma, second red card of the season. Now he misses 4 games for going studs up at someone's shin.
He's just an angry man.
It's a big penalty to pay 4 games, though, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like in a 38 game, it's 10% of the season. So
does that count cup competitions too, maybe? English
it
cup
could be 4
competitions?
Premier League games, because remember Casemiro got suspended last year, but then he was still able to play in the they're in the Champions League.
I feel like if
Europa
it's
League at the time.
English cup,
Yeah.
so Carabao Cup and
Yeah.
FA Cup, they probably can't play, and Premier League, sorry.
Yeah.
But then if it was Champions League or things like that, you still can. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty sure.
All right, let's get rolling into the games on the weekend. So we'll just quickly wrap up over the games before we get into sort of our elongated chat about performances and goals and such. And Bournemouth and Luton was suspended at 1-1. Hope the Luton captain, forgot
Tom
his name,
Lockyer.
Tom Lockyer.
Yeah.
He's obviously had some issues before. Hopefully he comes out of it all right. No word on how this game's going to go or be anything, but you know what? Let's just hope that Tom's all right.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
That's all we can talk about.
It'll be interesting how they finish that game though, because it's 1-1. I think in the past they have played a
There's
few
about
games
30
where,
minutes to go.
yeah,
isn't
where
there?
they play a 30-minute, but that would be very weird. I reckon you should just end it at 1-1. but-
Given, you know, with Luton down the bottom, potentially relegation zone, you know, them sneaking a result here could have massive ramifications. So who knows, but we'll leave that to the powers that be. Righto, boys, we'll get you excited. Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 0. I'll be honest, I saw the highlights. It was pretty boring.
Did you meant to say the powerhouse of Sheffield United defeated by Chelsea? Obviously Sheffield are last. Very happy with Chelsea getting the job done, and Cole Palmer absolutely dominated man of the match. I know it's nothing too exciting to get about, still 10th and things like that, but at least we got a win at home and something to cheer about.
Yeah.
It was routine. Caicedo was very underrated in that game. His stats were incredible.
There you go. Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 2. This result was insane. City were home, 2-0 up in like the 70-something minute. And then Phil Foden gives the ball away that leads to the goal and then decides to kick someone's shin into next week. Give away the penalty. What was he doing?
So silly.
It was like the end of the game. Just let it be. Just, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there.
Great penalty by Elise though, under pressure. Him signing that contract extension.
He's really good to
very
watch.
good for Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
But City dropping points where they shouldn't, because obviously they don't play this weekend.
Yep.
So if the other teams in the top 4 win, obviously one of Liverpool and Arsenal can't win. Manchester City will be out of the top 4 before Christmas for the first time in X amount of years.
Oh.
The last time they were out of the top 4 by Christmas, they were 8th. They won the league by 12 points that year. Yeah.
That's the most
Stats.
That's the most City thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh.
Well, you know, actually, funny thing is, for the Champions League and Europa League, if you got 2 owners owning 2 clubs in the Champions League, so Girona top of the La Liga
Are they
right
a City
now.
group?
They are part of City Group.
Oh.
So if
No wonder they're at top of the La Liga.
let's just say Girona finished 2nd and City finished 3rd.
Yeah.
Girona will qualify and City won't, because you're not allowed to have 2 of the same.
That's
in the
awesome.
European.
So
Let's go, Girona.
we know that world football is a bit dodgy. Is there a thing of randomly Girona just drop off out of the top 4?
But this is like Jim Ratcliffe. He owns a team in France as well. So the same would go for Manchester United.
It was
Or
Olympique Lyonnais.
it might be, but it's also if he has a minority stake because different.
I think it's minority and
Whereas the City Football Group own
City
everything.
Football.
That's crazy. Wow.
Sorry, Melbourne City, you can't play Champions League ever.
They play the AFC champions, the Asian champions. League.
I know because my mate's in China or India
exactly,
every second week at the moment. Shout out to Brian. Newcastle 3, Fulham 0. Jimenez, what the hell was he doing? He was going studs up to the face. Then he goes, nah, I'm going to arse him in the face. Literally, his butt cheek got him in the face. Red card. It was dumb.
What was he? Well, I was screaming when I saw this because I brought him in this week in EPL Fantasy. I was absolutely filthy. I brought him in, got a -2 or 3, cost me my game week. I was not happy. So,
But of course,
we
we talked him up, and then of course he decides to get a red card.
Well,
that
he's in
weekend.
really good form, and then now he's not going to be. He's going to be out till the end of the year. So I'm just filthy for him because he's found his form. Hopefully, he can find that form in the new year.
Just wanted Christmas off. Yeah, exactly. Newcastle with a pretty routine win.
Fulham also would have had a chance in this game if they didn't go down to 10 men.
Newcastle weren't. You see the 3 goals that they scored were all scrappy.
Yeah.
Sort of goals.
It was, they had, 10 men against them for 60-odd minutes, and it took them forever to crack that wall. So, yeah, I'm not really sold on Newcastle at the moment. Burnley 0, Everton 2. This was routine for Everton. They played a really good game here. I thought, the Sean Dyche, it's, lol Sean Dyche 4-4-2. He played 3 at the back, though. And Burnley were like, what is this? What are you doing? We can't play wide. What?
Burnley are struggling. They are struggling.
Yeah, they are.
I think they're destined to go down.
They're definitely going to go down.
Yep. And Everton, without the 10-point deduction, I think they'd be like 9th or 10th at the moment.
I'm going to have a look at it right now.
Yeah.
They would be 9th.
Yeah.
Which is, they'd be equal with Brighton.
So they'd be pushing for that low European spot.
Yeah, which is, if they keep up this form, they would have probably finished top 8 maybe. But we'll have to wait and see. That's crazy.
It's safe to say they are safe this year.
Yeah.
West Ham 3, Wolves 0. West Ham in European contention once again. They went through top of their group as well.
They did, yeah.
So good on them. I think it was the 3 teams in the Europa League all topped their group.
Yep.
And then you had top of the group and bottom of the group in the Champions League. Kudus' goal. Sick.
Yep.
He's
Absolutely
so
awesome.
good, yeah.
Outside the box, they have spent that Declan Rice money quite well. That offside goal for Wolves, I hate that that's an offside, honestly. Like, I get it. Yeah, it is.
But like, it's made for clear and obvious.
Yeah.
That's like, everyone's like, yeah, that's a goal, whatever. Yep, sweet.
Yep.
No dramas. But because of VAR, it's got to be a red card.
Do they scrap VAR and just keep goal line technology?
They're never going to scrap VAR now that they've bought it in.
Probably
they can't
not,
because then the thing is, the
way too
first week that they don't have it in, someone's literally going to get cleaned up like really badly, and it's going to be missed.
Wolves fan. Well, my mate was actually at this game, the West Ham Wolves game, sitting next to the Wolves fans, and he said it was absolute chaos. There was just, after that call happened with the offside, there was just fights going on galore. So, especially at London Stadium, it's a bit crazy there.
It's a great segue. Speaking of fights, Brentford and Aston Villa.
Oh, yeah.
Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2.
What the hell?
Well, Brentford went up just before half time, and as we talked about last week, we're like, Villa are going to struggle away from home here, like after the 2 big wins over Arsenal and Manchester City, and they did. And then we had the red card in 70th minute or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And then from there, Villa got back into the game, and then they hit the front with the Ollie Watkins goal, and then the game just descended into chaos because Ollie Watkins, ex-Brentford player, stood behind a net and threw. It was a bit of lip and a bit of posturing from him in front of the Brentford fans.
And well, there was one fan giving him a lot of lip throughout the game, and I think after he scored, he pointed to that fan, and then
I like how he did it behind the net.
big one.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was
and then
cool,
there was
yeah.
a little bit of a scuffle, and then there was another scuffle, and Emi Martinez looked like he'd been shot, even though he's 6'5" and 100 kilos. And if you wanted to stand up, he would. And then
a bit of Mark Bresciano vibes about the behind the net.
I don't mind that. Yeah. A bit of beef, yeah.
Good old Mark Bresciano. What a time. Mark Viduka, Harry Kiel, just naming dudes from the early 2000s.
Marks that played for the Socceroos are pretty good.
Yeah, they are. Speaking of Marks, Mark McAllion, a great man.
Yeah, you got to show. Good man.
Arsenal 2, Brighton 0. The 2-0 doesn't reflect how dominant Arsenal were in this game. This could have been 5-0 and no one would have walked away shocked. Brighton out of form at the moment, picking people in the wrong positions.
Yeah.
What was James Milner doing lining up at right back
He's
on
like
Bukayo
50.
Saka?
He's not going to be able to keep up with the pace of Saka.
Well, the fact that he didn't cop one card for all the times he clattered into Saka and kicked him, it was ridiculous. I'm honestly sick of players kicking the crap out of Bukayo Saka every week and not getting carded. You do it to anyone else, it's a card, but because it's the 22-year-old English kid, no cards. What are we doing? Come on! Bit of consistency. Seriously.
I wish I was on this podcast when Eden Hazard was getting kicked.
Yeah,
left, right,
exactly.
and centre.
Yeah.
Jack Grealish gets kicked.
Yeah,
left, right, and
every
centre.
team
He's
has
my
one of those
favourite
sort of
player.
players.
Yeah,
just the Arsenal fans.
I noticed it obviously watching every week. That dude has calves of steel. Like, honestly, it is ridiculous how much he gets picked on. Like, but just in that sense, like the double teams and clattered. Just give a couple of cards because they are card offences.
Nah, stuff Saka. Can't stand him anyway, so it's all good.
It's just rude stuff, guys. It's just rude.
I was wanting to trick you even more. I was like, is Alex going to do another segment of yelling?
No. But we need to talk, like Brighton topped their group in the Europa League. They won that game on the Friday. So or Thursday, sorry. And then coming into the Sunday game against Arsenal, struggled on the quick backup. But their form is very inconsistent in the league at the moment.
Really is. At the start of the season, they were awesome, and then they just can't score any goals. Evan Ferguson's been off as well, who started really well.
You wouldn't have even known he'd played if you didn't watch the game.
He can't get in the game.
Was a shadow.
Yeah, they could even finish below mid-table.
Yeah,
like
which is
I'm not saying like down, but obviously maybe like 10th to 12th.
Well, they've got the money to spend, like so they may need to buy some reinforcements in January. Obviously, given the amount of sales they've made in the past 2 seasons, so there's definitely some cash there. Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0. I got this one wrong. Waking up and checking the results on Monday morning and seeing nil, I'm like, what's going on here? And then you see that Liverpool have had 34 shots.
Not one goal. Come on, Liverpool. That's horrible.
They weren't great shots though. Like they did the technical shots, but
yeah, the ball was falling. You felt to the feet of the wrong people as well when it came for rebound shots and stuff like that. It just Anana made a couple of okay saves, but honestly, how did they not?
It was
score?
annoying that Man U. It probably was smart in the end because they just put so many people behind the ball the whole game. But it was boring. It was probably set up to be a massive game, lots of goals, and then
Apparently the atmosphere wasn't that great either.
Yeah,
which maybe,
I heard that.
I suppose is it you roll into a game thinking you're going to win and win easily, and you just
Apparently it's to do with a lot of the locals aren't able to get tickets. It's like a lot of the big teams where all the corporates get all the tickets.
like Arsenal with their ballot system.
Chelsea,
at the
I
moment.
went to a Chelsea game once and the atmosphere was still good, but it wasn't amazing compared to some of your lower teams. Apparently Liverpool nowadays is very corporate, the locals aren't getting the tickets and the locals are the ones that are nice in reality. So yeah, I hate that in that part of the Premier League. If a lot of the big teams are like that at the moment.
Yeah, particularly with the new stand as well. You thought there'd be a bit of noise and
yeah,
thought it'd be buzzing.
Normally after You'll Never Walk Alone, it's pretty somber a little bit after that. Although they do get a bit of momentum building, but yeah, it was pretty quiet, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I've heard the same about Arsenal. They've bought in like it's a ballot system. It's not just your usual memberships where you sit where you've bought your tickets for 100 years. They've changed it up, and it's not that it's killed the atmosphere. It's just not as good as what it was last year. So
not as many pure football fans going.
Changing for the sake of change is never a good thing.
Yeah.
Also, Diego Dallo got sent off for two yellow cards in 7 seconds, beating the Gabriel Martinelli record a couple of years ago.
Was that the record?
Well, no. So Martinelli got 2 yellow cards from Michael Oliver in about 5 seconds a couple of seasons ago. Diego Dallo beat him to it. So now Arsenal fans can go, oh yeah, the Martinelli send-off. It's now the Dallo send-off. But if you're sending Dallo off for this, why isn't Darwin Núñez getting sent off in the 20th minute for cleaning up Johnny Evans, straight up yellow card, then booting the ball completely to the other end of the pitch, and then showing the referee dissent? What's the difference, guys?
They're very inconsistent on their calls at the moment, aren't they? So, I don't know.
I think it was maybe it was late in the game.
It doesn't matter when
the crowd was,
but it also doesn't matter when it happens in the game. If you've committed 2 yellow card offences,
I agree.
Send him off. Anyway. Whatever. All right, time for On the Spot now that we've run through all the games. So what we do here is we're going to run through the performance of the week, which can be an individual or a team, the bell end of the week, well, you can figure out what that means, the goal of the week, the bozzer of the week. We're going to call it the bozzer, which is the best save.
Yep.
And then we'll bring in Leo for a trivia question before we get into the second half.
Ooh.
All right, boys, the Timmy Cahill Boxing a Flag Award for who is hot in the EPL. Stats Guy.
Crystal Palace, they drew to City. Well, maybe Roy Hodgson, just in general. When they scored that goal in the 94th minute or whatever it was, he literally turned to Pep and just started laughing in his face. He just and Pep's like, oh, bugger me.
You can't punch a senior citizen.
Yeah, exactly. Roy's like, I don't even know if I'm good at coaching anymore. I'm bloody, he's so old. I don't even know how he is. But he got a draw against City.
I think.
That was my performance of the week. Amazing draw by Palace just to stay in that game, let alone draw it. And then Roy Hodgson laughing in Pep's face.
76.
76 he is, Roy Hodgson. So that's amazing. And yeah, so he's just having a really good time at Palace. He doesn't care if they're just above the relegation zone or wherever they are. So yeah, that was my performance of the week.
Nice.
I'm gonna go Lucas Paqueta. Got 3 assists in a 3-0 win. 80% successful dribble rate, and he always works hard defensively and tracking back. And yeah, he was superb.
I'm going to say Everton, 4 wins in a row in the league.
4 wins, is it?
After 5 games, they were on 1 point. So it's been an amazing turnaround.
Lucky they didn't get the deduction then.
Oh, no.
Minus 9 points.
Well, they'd still be on this now. Yeah. Sean Dyche just loves the grind so hard. He asked for a points deduction just to stay in that battle every year. Yeah, he's committed.
If he was at Burnley right now, would they still be in the running?
Yeah, exactly. He'd love that. He's like, can I get a 6-week transfer, boys? Yeah. All right, time for the bell end of the week. This one's pretty obvious. It's who's hot, who's acted like a complete tool bag over the weekend, or they're just completely out of form. So I'm going to start off with Emi Martinez, flopping around like an absolute tool bag where he gets brushed, drops like he's being shot, and then decides to get up and act all tough. Mate, you're 6'5", you're dead set carved out of granite. You're not falling over unless you really want to. Stop acting like a tool bag and play some good football. Also,
fair enough.
Rasmus Højlund, 0 from 14, 75 million euros. 0 goals in 14 games.
Yeah, it's not great reading, but I think he will be a good sign.
Oh, he will be, but he's not
yet.
hot.
Not yet. My one, we already talked about him, so I'll quickly just touch on him again. Raul Jimenez, red card, cost my fantasy, cost Fulham a real chance at a draw or a win.
That guy only cares about his fantasy. He doesn't care about Fulham.
Possibly. No, I do care about Fulham because I may have had a bet on him as well. But I picked him as well. They really cost him a chance at a draw or win just because he's been their best attacker. So I was filthy with that.
Yep.
Well, I was going to go the Brentford fan for like getting what comes at him after Ollie Watkins scored, but I'm going to go Anthony for Manchester United just because the game plan that they played with Liverpool was Johnny Evans booting it long for half the game to Anthony and then try and win a throw-in. And then that was their game plan.
I mean, it worked. They didn't lose.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but they didn't score a goal.
Anthony, 1 goal contribution in his last 26 games.
It's not great. Yeah. Yep.
We could do
I
that.
hate to see it. Honestly, if
I could jump on the field and just get 1 assist in 26 games. Easy.
Oof.
Oh man, everyone behind the screen here is laughing at Stats Guy.
I don't believe that.
They've actually seen Stats Guy try to be athletic, not happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of athleticism, goal of the week. I'm going with Mohamed Kudus versus Wolves. Started in the back half, and it just phenomenal run. Then outside the box on the left boot, bang, bottom corner, never getting stopped. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, it was a brilliant goal. I'm gonna go similar. I'm gonna go a goal in the same game. I'm gonna go Jared Bowen for Wolves. 1-2 on the halfway line. Bit of pace to burst past his opponent, and then obviously had Craig Dawson, twice the size, leaning on him when he's taking the shot.
Big man.
Yeah, dribbled it to the far bottom corner.
It's really an old school defender name, is it? Craig Dawson.
Craig Dawson.
You got Dawson lining up on you tonight. Crap, in for a long night here.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go Lewis Miley. I know it wasn't the best goal off the boot, but just that he was the youngest ever Premier League goal scorer for Newcastle. I think it was awesome. He's coming to this side when Newcastle have had a lot of injuries, and he's playing every game now, and he's 17, and he's been really good. So I was just happy he got his first ever Premier League goal. That was my goal of the week.
Rico Lewis also scored his first league goal for Manchester City too.
Yes, yeah. A few firsts.
Good head of hair on him too.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we're going to call it the Schmeichel, but I'm going to rename it the Bozza. The Bozza of the week. What was the best save? I'll go with Alisson 1-on-1 against Højlund. Just made his body massiver than, good word, Alex.
Massive.
Just even more massive than it already is, and just went, you're not getting past me, as wide as you can get. Save. Could have been very pivotal because it was very late in the game as well. So Alisson gets my save of the week against Manchester United.
Could have even fit Schwarzer in there too. A little bit of...
Yeah, but Bozza's funnier.
Yeah, Bozza's a good one.
I mean, I could have done the Mackenzie Arnold,
There's a lot of good Aussie goalkeepers,
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm changing this to the Mackenzie Arnold.
Well, for the Mackenzie Arnold award, I'm going to look at James Trafford against Everton. It was a close header from 6 yards out. He's gone down low to his left, one-handed save, parried away. Brilliant save.
I'm written him in here, but I'm going to go Onana. I think a lot of people have been talking him down. What does he have? The most clean sheets in the Premier League. I think he just had not just one specific save. He had a lot of really good saves to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, who are absolutely awesome form. So just a shout out to him. Everyone's been talking crap about him for pretty much 3 months now. So I'm going to talk him up for once. He had a really good game.
While on that Onana train, he conceded, Manchester United conceded 16
or 17 goals,
Chelsea's record defensive season was conceding 15 in the Premier League.
Ooh,
and they lost that in the Champions League group stage.
God.
With a group of Galatasaray and Copenhagen.
That's the thing. He's been horrible and lots of mistakes in the Champions League, but not too bad in the Premier League, which is weird, but that's how it's going at the moment.
Just doesn't like pressure, or he actually just doesn't like traveling midweek. Maybe.
It's a bit tired.
But the thing is, he's also going to go away soon. Africa Cup of Nations is
it's like,
next month.
I think it's 8 or 9 games some of them miss.
No, up to like a month. So it could be. So basically, I need Mohamed El Neni to make sure that Egypt make the quarterfinals, because that means Mohamed Salah won't be back for the return game between Arsenal and Liverpool.
Well, I saw some West Ham people commenting on the weekend about Kudus. So he'll be playing in the African Cup of Nations as well, and he's been one of their best players the last month.
You've also got the Asian Cup as well, where you've got Song Min Hung and Tomiyasu going over there. You also Matoma would be going over to as
probably,
well. So there's a fair few teams.
That's going to be annoying for the Premier League.
But it happens every cup. You know what you're getting every 4 years with that, so it happens.
Yep.
All right, we've run through all the games and wrapped up all the fun stuff for this week in the EPL. We'll be back after this. You're going to hear Stats Guy's voice talking about cricket today, and then we're going to get in Leo for the trivia question before getting into our predictions and prognostications for the second half of the season. We'll be back after this.
Lock in for a huge summer of slog sixes, rattle bales, and classic snags with the daily Cricket Today podcast. Keep up to date with all things BBL, BBL Supercoach, tests, ODIs, and T20s this summer, as well as the highlights and socials all season long. Search Cricket Today on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Welcome back to Football Today, second half of the show. We're going to start off the second half of the show every Tuesday and Thursday with Leo's trivia question. Scoreboard, it's going to be up right here. Marcus is currently winning. He won by default. The two best words in the English language as far as Homer Simpson is concerned. Leo, what is your trivia question this week?
All right, boys, there are 2 points on offer here.
Ooh.
So the question is, which team has received the most yellow cards and which team has received the fewest yellow cards this EPL season?
Same. We can. So the fewest and the most.
Fewest and the most.
So we can go around and answer one by one again. I'll go first. I'll say Arsenal have the fewest. And the most, I will say Manchester United.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
I'll go with, Aston Villa fewest. And most will be Tottenham.
Okay. Stats Guy.
I was going to go Tottenham.
Well, you can say them. It's fine.
I was going to lean towards Arsenal least as well. I think they hold the ball a bit more. So, and then I'll go least was Tottenham. They've had a lot of most Tottenham, least Arsenal. Yeah.
Yep.
So the most yellow cards is Sheffield United with 55.
We probably
Wow.
55.
55.
We probably
guessed
should have got
that,
that because they're last, but
a
still,
lot.
that's so many.
And the least, Arsenal with 23.
That's
There
a
you
point.
go.
Did I-
I get a point.
Come on.
Beauty.
I was filthy. We should have probably.
One all now.
Yeah, literally.
Scoreboard. 1-1-1.
We should have probably got the Sheffield because
Yeah.
Sheffield United.
I knew the Arsenal one was because I read an article last week on The Athletic where they're like, where this reporter from The Athletic is, why are we using Arsenal as the poster boys for bad behaviour when they've got the least yellow cards this season?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But bloody 55 yellow cards.
That's a lot in 17 games.
That is
Yeah.
horrible.
Chelsea were second with 52.
I was possibly going to say Chelsea as like in the top few. There you go.
All right, good stuff, Leo. Love that.
Cool. That was good. Yeah.
More
Thank
trivia coming up your way Thursday. All right, boys, halfway point of the season. We're near enough to 17 games in. Currently, as it stands right now, Arsenal leading from Liverpool, Aston Villa, Man City, Tottenham, and Newcastle. We'll throw in Man United and West Ham there. Between Arsenal and West Ham in 8th, there are 12 points covering them, but between Arsenal, Liverpool, and Villa, 1 point. Down the bottom, Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United, 9, 8, and 8. Then you've got Everton on 16 and Notts Forest on 14 points. So that is the top and the bottom of the table. Let's go with our top sixes for the end of the season. Also, a little bit of reasoning. Don't just go da-da-da-da-da. A little bit of reasoning would also be good too. I'll go first.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with Arsenal.
What a surprise.
Yes, I'm an obviously Arsenal fan, but I think they are very well set up to win the league this year.
Yep.
The loss of last year will be driving them. You've also got the addition of Declan Rice, which has just been phenomenal for them this year. Manchester City in for second because, well, they're the incumbent. It's Manchester City. They're going to win 12 games in a row at some stage and everyone's going to go, oh, crap. Liverpool in for third. I think they'll be there. They'll just dip a little bit. The loss of Salah could hurt them in January when he goes away to play for Egypt. Aston Villa in for fourth. I think they can hold on to this form that they're playing very well. And then fifth and sixth, I can swap around, but I've got Newcastle in for fifth at the moment. No European football for the rest of the season. They've got a lot of people to come back from injuries. That should help them. Tottenham, also the same. No European football. A lot of players to come back from injury. I still think they make top six, but I think with their game style as well, it is very dangerous. And against the good teams in the back half of the year, they could find themselves in a spot of bother, shall we say.
Ooh. Nice.
Marcus?
You go, Marcus.
You go.
Yeah.
Well, mine is very similar to yours,
Yep.
Alex, actually. I'll go Arsenal winning the league. Manchester City coming into second. I think, they're just this slow start to halfway, although you mentioned they were eighth and they
A couple of years ago,
won
yeah.
the league, but it's not as easy, I think, the league this season.
No.
There's a lot more competitive nature towards it. Liverpool in third, I think, just depth. I think they can keep up with Arsenal and City, but depth might be an issue.
Yeah.
Villa in fourth, impressed. Emery's doing a fantastic job at Villa. And then similar to you, I could go either or for Tottenham or Newcastle. A lot of players coming back, but for Tottenham, they could finish sixth or even seventh if they just run out of legs because they have a lack of depth. And if they run out of legs playing the way Ange plays, then could it be
that first season they've taken on so much on board? They get to like 4 or 5 games to go in the season, they lose 3 of them. It's just like, whoa.
Burnout.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's burnout, miss Europe completely. But then it's like, all right, next year they'll be like third.
I still think they'll get European football, but
Yep.
What about you, Stats Guy?
I'm very, very different. I think there's a long way to go in this season, but I'm going to go Liverpool first.
Yep.
I think the way they're going, I know they had a draw on the weekend, but I just think their squad is just going to be able to score goals and really dominate at home. Then I'm going to go Arsenal second. I think it will be really close between Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City in the top 3. Then we have a bit of a drop-off. I'm going to go Tottenham fourth. I really like the way they're travelling. Although they've had so many injuries, once they get those injured players back, I reckon they can push for the top 4.
Don't forget Son's going to be away for a month.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't think about that.
Bit of Ange ball bias.
Yeah, maybe a little
that
bit of Ange ball bias, but I just think there's a few teams that are playing better, like we sort of said about the systems. I don't mind Ange's system. I know it sometimes bites them on the ass when they lose a couple of players to red cards, but I still don't mind their system. I think the second half of the season when they get some players back, especially Maddison. If Maddison's playing, they're going to win a lot of games. So Tottenham 4th, Villa 5th. I think they're going to drop off in the second half of the season. It happens a lot when new sort of teams, other than Leicester City as the outlier, new sort of teams without
Arsenal 2 years ago.
Yeah, without experience, they sort of drop off because they haven't had the experience of being up the top. So I think they're going to drop back to 5th. Then they're going to go a bit of a sneaky Man U to finish 6th. I really don't like the way and structure that Newcastle
I don't know how it's
with.
sneaky when they're 1 point off 6th at the moment.
Well, neither of you had them in the top 6.
But you just said sneaky.
Yeah, well, they've snuck up from 7th. But yeah, Man U into 6th. I'm not trusting Newcastle at the moment. I think that'll be a toss between Man U and Newcastle for 6th. So I'm going to go Man U. Don't think they're going too bad in the Premier League. The Champions League is making them look worse than they actually are, I believe. As I said last week's show.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of that, we need to talk about relegation. Give us 3 teams. Look, they're probably all going to be the same, let's be honest. Yep. I changed one of mine up just as a late little thought there. So Sheffield United and Burnley are quite obvious. They're going to go down. They just look absolutely
horrendous. We all agree on those, I think. Yeah.
They've conceded 43 goals Sheffield and 36 goals Burnley. Their goal rate is terrible. I'm going to throw in Notts as the other team as much as I hate it. I love Notts. But this will all be dependent on if and when Steve Cooper gets sacked.
Yes.
If he gets sacked by the end of January, they may stay up. If he somehow holds on for a little while, they're absolute Barney Rubbles, I reckon. It's like the Sam Allardyce with Leeds last year. He's come in way too late and also bringing in Big Sam. Anyway, different point.
Yeah.
But bring someone in too late doesn't allow them to get their system in place and play the way they want.
I agree with that.
I think Luton, the way that they've played in the last couple of weeks at home,
they've been all right.
They nearly got a result against Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City at home. They're going to be hard to beat at home against some of these like Brentford, Wolves, Bournemouth. Whoever hasn't gone there yet are going to struggle to get away with some results there. If Luton can win, 3 or 4 of those games against those teams, they're going to be a sneaky chance to get out. It could come down to a last day. Luton need to win away or something. I haven't looked at the thing, but Notts, I think they're in a bit of trouble. So come on, Luton, stay up.
I thought Luton could stay up. I said in the last show, but I can't see with Everton playing this well.
Yeah.
I think Steve Cooper will be gone soon.
Not before Christmas. Sorry, before the end of the year, maybe. I reckon
might even be a little bit of a new manager bounce too.
They're talking to Nuno, used to manage Wolves.
Oh, then maybe they're down. Maybe they're down then.
If that's the case. Wolves to, what was it, top 6?
Yeah, but then he went at Tottenham.
Yeah, he lasted, 63 days?
Yeah. So if that's the case, they might go down. But I've got Sheffield, Burnley and Luton.
So Luton's next 2 games are Newcastle at home and Sheffield United away. So that's obviously for the Luton staying up. Who do Notts Forest have? Notts Forest have Bournemouth at home this weekend, and then they play Newcastle on Boxing Day. If they lose both, I think Steve's gone.
I think Luton get a point this weekend against Newcastle.
I agree.
Yeah, nice. I'm going to go the same as Marcus. Sheffield, Burnley, and Luton. You see it a lot when the newer teams come up into the Premier League where they start okay, just because teams haven't played against them. Like Luton have never been at this level. So people are a bit worried and not sure how to play Kenilworth Road. I think second half of the season, I reckon they're going to get absolutely smashed. So Sheffield, Burnley and Luton, that's what I reckon is going to happen. It's happened.
Clip that one up.
All those Luton fans out there.
How good has Ross Barkley been?
Ross Barkley's been a great signing for him. Yeah.
Honestly ridiculous how insane he's been like the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Champions League, obviously round of 16 draw was overnight. So this is really poignant. Just Manchester City getting a lovely draw once again. Have a look at their last 8 round of 16 draws. Yeah, honestly, the luck of the draw, really been on Manchester City's side.
I know.
So we'll just quickly read out.
Might be the luck on Girona's side next season if they finish higher than City.
I can't
watch this space. So the last 16 is in place. Copenhagen, Man City, RB Leipzig, Real Madrid, PSG and Sociedad, Lazio, Bayern Munich, PSV, Dortmund, Inter Milan, Atletico, Porto and Arsenal, Napoli and Barcelona. Who wins the Champions League, boys? Stats guy.
Real Madrid. I've been on them since the start. I just think they're especially their attack is just amazing. You got Vinny.
Still don't have a top line striker.
No, well they don't need it. You got Bellingham.
Yeah.
I don't know how he just pops up. He'll be he'll be in the defensive box and then he'll pop up for a header or an absolute banger from outside the box attacking. He's the best player in the world at the moment. If you have the best player in the world, that definitely helps, obviously. And then they got Vinny Jr. and just so many players on that team. There's only
David Alaba did his knee on the weekend though.
That's all right. They have their bench is just good enough. Sort of like City, where they got the bench players to cover. I think
they'll need to buy a defender in summer, I reckon.
Yeah,
January. Sorry,
they've only got two teams in the Champions League that were undefeated without even a draw. So they went 6-0 Real Madrid in a pretty decent group when you got Napoli in that group. Man City also went 6-0, but I think Real Madrid are the better team and they're going to win it all.
Marcus.
Yeah, I like that Real Madrid call, but I'm going to go a bit different. I'm going to go Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
I think just with Harry Kane up top, is very, very lethal. I think he broke the record, didn't he? Fastest to 20 Bundesliga goals.
14 games. The next closest was like 18.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, well,
So,
it's ridiculous. And I think they've struggled. They won the Champions League not long ago, actually, but they've also struggled in that.
The best player in the world.
They always get late in that tournament, but then struggle.
Yeah.
But I think this time, they can win it.
Yep. I agree with Stats Guy. I'm saying Real Madrid, but also I've put in Arsenal there because I honestly think there's something that Arsenal are going to win this year. It's either they're not going to win both. They're going to win one of them.
Yeah, it's not the Champions League.
Yeah,
but I agree that they could win the league. Yeah.
Oh, well, go Arsenal. But also Real Madrid for obvious reasons. Been there, done that. They are like so perfectly set up.
Yeah, they've won the most Champions Leagues by far as well. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, you know what you're doing when you're tipping Real Madrid in the Champions League. Interestingly, no Manchester City from any of us.
Yeah. Well, they always crumble. And they're not playing well in the league.
They literally won it last year, Stats Guy.
No, I just feel like they're
always crumble. Literally just won it.
I forgot about that actually.
After bumming out of easy draws in the past where they got knocked out by.
They will make it through this round with that easy draw though, yeah.
Be interesting to see. Watch this space PSG if they bomb out again too.
Yeah.
Europa League as well is on. Obviously, fantastic collection of teams given the form that some of these teams are in at the moment. We're not going to run through all of them. Who we think will win it. We've gone a bit different here just looking at the run sheet. I said Liverpool off the top, just instantly went, oh yeah, Liverpool will win this. Again, Champions League winning team, pushing for the EPL title. It'll be interesting to see in sort of 6 weeks' time how they're going in the EPL with how they're tracking in the Europa League. Obviously, don't know who their opponents are going to be as they top their group. They've got to wait for the playoffs from the third place Champions League team, the second place Europa League teams. So it'll be interesting to see who goes through there. Stats Guy, you've gone a bit different.
Yeah, a bit of Bayer Leverkusen. I think they're flying under the radar in world football. They're first. They're undefeated. The only team that's undefeated in the Bundesliga. Undefeated also in the Europa League. They've just looked absolutely awesome. We were actually talking about one of their best players this morning, Alex Florian Wirtz. Rising star, he's only 20. He's been absolutely awesome in midfield for them.
He scored 42 goals.
42 goals. Yeah, how many games is that?
15.
15 games, exactly. Wow. So just in the Bundesliga alone, they're going really well, which this is probably the best they've been in a long time. I think just a bit of the unknown. Liverpool are definitely the favourites in this, but the unknown of they wouldn't have played Bayer Leverkusen very much, and they match up really well against the world's best team. So I'm going to go Leverkusen.
Would you, if you're a Bayer Leverkusen fan, what would you rather? Would you rather win the league at the Bundesliga, or would you rather win the Europa League?
I would say Bundesliga,
Bundesliga.
Because Bayern have dominated this for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But I think either way they'll be happy because they wouldn't have won anything like that in a long time.
I reckon league. This is an all-in league. It's like if they're in the Champions League, if they're in this spot in the Champions League, it'd be different. It's like, either or is great.
Would that cost them in the Europa League though? If they
if they rest players,
like what I said last year when Arsenal were pushing to win the Premier League, they're like, it's the Europa League. We're going to make Champions League next year, so we can play the B team against Sporting Lisbon in the quarters of the round of 16, whatever it was. We got knocked out on penalties, but we were pushing for the league, so it's like whatever.
Yep. I'm going to go. Well, I think it's Liverpool's to lose.
Yep.
But just to go a bit different, I'm going to go AC Milan.
See, this is a great collection of teams.
Yeah, they're all really good for Europa League as well. Yeah,
I have a lot of experience in that team, AC Milan. Like even European experience, looking at likes of Olivier Giroud, Christian Pulisic is in good form there. He's won the Champions League. And they just have a really experienced squad that I think
obviously made the semis last year of the Champions League.
And I think Italian football as well works well in knockout competitions compared to how sort of more defensive it is.
Yeah, a bit more structured.
They had 3 of the last 8 teams, and then they had 2 in the semi-finals of the Champions League last year. So it does work out well. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting coming into that sort of those knockout stages, depending on where all those teams are in their respective leagues as well. So. We're going to finish off one final one just to really... couple of good ones here, just little clickbaity ones.
Yeah, I think it is.
Best signing of the season so far in the EPL and worst signing of the season so far. So think of all the signings that have been done from the end of the 2022-23 season to now. Starting off with the best, and I know Stats Guy's going to go, but it is so obvious who the best signing
I'm
is.
not right with you.
Declan Rice is absolutely the best signing so far this season. The fact that he's slotted into Arsenal and has been brilliant from the first game, no one's mentioned his price tag apart from when he got sold, just shows how good a player is.
$100 million.
$100 million. It's just like, oh yeah.
It's the first 100 million one in a while. You're going, Oh, it's probably worth it.
Like Jack Grealish got sold for 100 million as well. Like when you think about it, it's just like, oh yeah, like no, we get it. Yeah. Like everyone's like, probably should have paid West Ham more, but 100 million's 100 million. But also shout out to James Maddison, obviously coming across from Leicester for Tottenham. Shout out to my mate on Instagram last night. But James Maddison has been a brilliant signing. Got to give him that. And for the worst, Matt Turner.
Oh,
Nottingham Forest have let in some horrendous goals so far this season. And Matt Turner has been at the prefaces of most of them, given the fact that he's the goalkeeper. How Arsenal got a couple of million for him, I will never know.
No.
Could he get Steve Cooper sacked?
Probably, yeah. Good job, Arsenal.
Yeah.
All right, Marcus.
Best signing, I'm going to go with Nicholas Jackson. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Declan Rice. I think maybe if a couple of those Tottenham players didn't get injured and they continued their form, there could have been a shout, but I think Declan Rice is the clear one.
Yep.
I'm going to give a shout out to Soboslai though. At Liverpool, he's been outstanding, particularly in an area of the pitch where Liverpool have struggled in recent years.
Well, they reformed their midfield in one summer.
And worst, I'm going to go Sandro Tonali, purely because he wasn't great when he started adjusting to the Premier League, particularly in pre-season. And obviously he's got banned, so you can't really be a good signing if you can't play.
I mean, probably a good one. 60 million and you got suspended for 9 months.
Yeah, that's a fair call, yeah.
Righto, Stats Guy, finish us off.
You guys mentioned him, James Maddison. I know he's gotten injured, but I think he's really turned this Tottenham side around. Obviously, they were really disappointing in 8th last season. They're still 5th and fighting for that top 4. As we said in our predictions, we're not sure if they're going to make top 4, but I think he's really turned their side around. So I think he's been an amazing signing. He's got 8 goal contributions in his 11 games, so pretty solid. For my worst, I'm going to go Alexis McAllister. Obviously, he was really good.
That's racist towards gingers.
yeah, if Jim was in here in the office, he would have a goal me probably. But Alexis McAllister, 2 goal contributions, 6 cards, including 1 red card in 14 games. So when you got more than double your cards compared to your goal contributions, and I can't remember how much they signed him for, but it was probably a fair bit.
Was the release clause like 40 million?
Well, still, I think that's overpriced. And he did go really well at the World Cup, but I think he needs to do more for Liverpool if they're going to win the league. He's going to have to step up.
Not playing as a natural. He's not a natural DM though, is he?
No, I think he's more attacking. But they've already got a lot of
out of position. So
that is one problem with Liverpool's midfield. We always said they're going to be very short on the counter attack. It's going to catch them out.
Slow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And finish off PFA Player of the Year. This one's really interesting this year because there's no supreme standout. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne down with injury. Haaland still great, but not at his amazing best. Also down with injury at the moment. By pure virtue of the fact he's played every game and has been great in every game, Declan Rice is winning this award at the moment.
Well, at the moment, I'd probably back that.
Yeah.
Because he's probably been the best signing and the best player of the year. But I think this will be dependent on who wins the league. So if Arsenal win the league, I think it's Rice. If City win the league, I think it's Rodri.
Do you reckon he can still win it despite his behavioural issues on field, getting suspensions
I
and
think
stuff?
he can still win it. Yeah, for sure. And if Liverpool win the league, Mohamed Salah.
Yeah. Oh, because I predicted Liverpool to win the league, I forgot to put this in there, but I'll go Salah. I think when they win games, he scores 2 goals and gets an assist. Like, he's just an unbelievable player, still at the peak of his powers. The only thing is, if he misses some games, I hope Egypt don't go too far in the AFCON so that Salah's still playing. But if I had to pick someone, Declan Rice, I was bagging him before the show, saying, I don't know if he's the best player. When you look at it on paper, and Arsenal are top of the league, he's gone really well at the moment, but I'm going to go Salah for PFA.
Yeah, well, Salah currently at the moment has more goal contributions than games played.
Wow.
Which is great. He's got 11 goals, 7 assists in 17 games.
Nice.
We're probably also forgetting about the big Norwegian Erling Haaland. He's obviously got a big chance.
Obviously.
When he comes back.
If he scores 45 goals, he's probably going to win it as well. And then there's also if Bukayo Saka has another 20, 25 goal contributions as well. He's like, we've gone real off Broadway instead of going, Haaland, Saka, just apart from the obvious ones.
Apart from Salah is a bit more of an obvious one, but the other ones I don't mind.
Good stuff, boys.
Nice.
Good second show. Bit longer, but good.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up here. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll preview the big Christmas, Boxing Day extravaganza of football. It is an insane week in the EPL coming up. I cannot wait. Following that, we'll be back the following Thursday, so the 28th. Basically when those morning games end. I think Manchester City's the last game. That starts at 7:15 a.m. So basically as soon as final whistle blows there. I think it's just Stats Guy and I, maybe Marcus. I'm not sure if you're on play or not.
I can join him.
Oh, there you are. The three of us, yeah. So,
I'm out. I'm gonna go.
no, shut up, Stats Guy. So we'll be back on Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday to preview EPL Matchweek 18. Jesus, I am getting way too far ahead of myself. Matchweek 18, as I said, we'll also have a chat about everything else going on in the world. Of course, it was announced yesterday that the Tillies are playing in Melbourne in the end of February.
Yeah.
Sold about 30,000 tickets already. How good. We'll be back then and we'll talk about it then. Thanks, Stats Guy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thanks, Alex.
Shout out to Geraldo and Leo behind the screens, doing a great job as always. Leo with some fantastic trivia questions. Check us out on the social medias, Football Today Pod on TikTok, X, Instagram. Abuse me on Instagram. Some dude did it all last night. Have a real profile photo if you want to, though. Don't be a coward. We'll be back on a Thursday for Football Today, previewing EPL Matchweek 18. See you then.